of the mobile. They're stacked. But now, once we get to this media query of beyond 650, it is stacking them right next to each other. Now, a couple other adjustments I want to make to that is margin top, maybe negative 1 EM on the entire unordered list, and then also align items center. All right, and a couple other things I want to add. This doesn't look correct. I think a couple of rule sets that I have will fix this in a second. Is the actual LI elements themselves, so ULI. Margin bottom, we're going to set to 0. There we go. And then also the paragraph elements, we're going to adjust the padding between a little bit close, I think. So if I take this, and don't worry, we're going to be done pretty soon. So ULIP, we're going to take the padding to 0 on the top and bottom, and on the right and left 80M. So we're increasing just a bit the right and left padding. And then also our grade container. These should also be floating to the left of each other too. So we'll just put display flex. It's not working just right yet. Oh, that's because this needs to be grade container UL. There we go. Awesome. And then our nav UL. So if we brought that nav UL back, it would be all the way 60%. It's just too much, so I want to bring it back to the width of that to around here at 40%. So we're not going to see that change just yet. All right. Awesome. So that's it for this media query, I think. Once we get to this size, things are pretty good, or right around 650. So the next thing we do is keep on going out and think, okay, what needs to change about this layout as we go further and further in terms of the width. So I would say right around 875, there's a couple things I want to change. So our subheading, I think I want to adjust the margin a little bit, as well as the margin of the blue container ULs just a bit. So let's do that. I'm going to copy this. Come outside of that media query and start a new one and put 875. Alright, so inside of here we're going to put in subhead class. Margin bottom, 15%. So it's really going to space things out more for us. We're going to say blue container, UL, a margin on the top of 0, 0, and 4% on the right. And 0 there. And then also grade container, UL. We'll say margin is a 4% on the top and 0, 0 there. So we're just basically situating the ULs a little bit more for more white space on the larger viewports, which makes more sense. You have more space to fill, same amount of content, and want things spread out further. And I think that's looked pretty good until we get to around about 1024, which is I think around a tablet size or so in larger, in desktop even. So what we're going to change there is we're going to start to show the navigation and hide this. Alright, so what we'll do is create another one. Don't worry guys, we're getting close to being finished with this. We only have like 2 more media queries after this. 1024. And inside of here, just coming down, looking at this, that call to action button looks really silly being that large. So let's change that. CTA is the class. The width will be 50%. There we go. That's a lot better. So watch how it goes from all the way out down to 50% once we get to 1024 right there. Then we're going to have outside of that, we're going to take our container. This is the part where the container has pretty much been the full width. It's been fluid up to this point, but now I kind of want to keep it a little bit more centered. So what we'll do is take our container And we're going to give it a width of 80%. So notice once we do that, things kind of come in, but we also need to center it. So we're going to put margin 0 auto, and then I'm going to give it, on the bottom, we're going to give it some white space and auto. Sort of like that. And actually, I think I'm going to get rid of that. That doesn't make sense to me at this point in time. I may adjust that later. But this looks a lot better. So notice how, if we bring this in, it's at 100% width, but when we get to this size, it's staying more in the center. Because when we get to the larger, I don't want it to go all the way out. It'll spread things out too far, in my opinion, with content that's so sparse like this. Okay, so let's go back to right around our 1024, and oh yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing when I applied that 13%. I was looking at the wrong set on my reference monitor. Next, we're going to have show desktop. Now, that was a class that we applied on a few things to show them once the desktop shows up. So we're going to put display block, because normally these are display hidden with the show mobile class. And guess what? When we do that, this starts to show up. And by the way, it's at 40% now as opposed to 60% on the mobile version. And this is the margin that I wanted to apply right here. So margin is 0 auto, 13% in auto. All right. And then after show desktop, we're going to have hide desktop. I think we had hide desktop. We're going to put display none on that. Alright, and so then what we want to do is, notice how this is showing up. This is supposed to show up, but the problem is it's so styled differently. We need to reset the styling to make it look like this up here, which is very different. So let's get the rule sets rewritten here for this. So we have a nav.ul element, which is for this whole container here, and we're going to change position here to inherent. So it's kind of resetting it back to, it's going from position fixed to just whatever it inherits, which is a potential and acceptable property value. The width is also going to be reset to auto. Background is going to be set to none. The height is going to go to auto. The display is going to go to flex. And we're going to put padding top, which did have some before, to 0. Next, we're going to have our nav ULLI. We're going to put float left here. And then we're going to put nav ULLIA. And this is going to restyle the links themselves. So color is going to be black. We're going to have background color. We could put inherit as well. So now we can see it's looking much closer. We're going to set, let's see here, text align right. So that pushes things over more towards this side. And also, we're going to do padding to this. 1em, 2em, like that. Actually, I think it already, I think that did make a change. You don't want to reuse and set the same exact values. I think that was different before. And I think that looks good right here. And then, as of course, when it comes to our hover, we don't want it to hover like that. That looks terrible, so we'll just put in our hover selector, and we'll say background color is inherit. Like that. Awesome. Alright, so now watch what happens to this. It goes away, and when we get to JavaScript real quickly, we'll make that other normal menu show up. And once we get to this shows up just like that. Alright, so there's, let's see here. Let's see what else should be changed. I think we're going to have one more rule set here. Oh, we're also going to make this animate. I didn't talk about animation at all, so we'll do this real quickly. Let's make this hover up inside, or like up and down. So to do that, we have a class targeted onto it called scroll. If I could find it. Right here. So the class is scroll. Notice we have the hide mobile and show desktop, so it hides like that. So let's make it scroll here. Animate. So we'll target scroll within this media query, and we'll say width 30 pixels, make it a little bit smaller. And we're going to give an animation property. Notice there's a lot of other animation properties you can use, but you'll use the full one here and just say we're going to call it move. You have to give the animation a name. We're just going to call it move. For 2 seconds is duration. You can also put delays and all this other stuff, so make sure you look up this property on your own. We're going to make it animate infinite forever, and we're going to alternate back and forth. Now nothing happens yet because we have to define this in keyframes. So we put add keyframes and then name of the animation. And then we're going to say we can put from and to, or we can put in multiple keyframe animations with percentage values. So for instance 0%, let's say transform, translate Y because we want to move up and down, 0 pixels. And then we'll put 100%. And then we could say transfer Y maybe 20 pixels. So notice how it's going up and down now. Maybe it makes this a little bit quicker. There we go. And this, you can put 0%, and by the way, you could put like 10% here, then 50%. You can really add multiple steps where you control multiple declarations inside here. You can also just put, if you know it's from and to, you can put just from 0% and then to. Same thing, it will work just the same. And by the way, I should mention some of these properties, when you're using them, you're not using any sort of build tool that will like auto prefixer as it's called. Sometimes you have to add in things like WebKit animation. WebKit is a a vendor prefix as it's called. I'm not doing that now because I don't want to bog down too much information here, but just be wary of that because your properties, CSS properties can work in some browsers and then in others they may not, and that could be because you need to add in those other vendor prefixes. So that's just something to consider going forward. Okay, so now there's only really just one more let's see, a media query to write for. This is kind of all screwed up looking when we get to the big sizes. Alright, so let's make a few adjustments there from 1600 pixels and beyond. And then after this, we'll use a little bit of JavaScript to get the menu working on mobile. And then be done. Alright, so 1600 pixels. And we'll say, the first thing I want to adjust is the server icon. It's pretty huge. So we're going to take the width down to 40% here. 1600 pixels must be out here. There we go. So we're scaling it down. And we have to readjust the margin again. So 5 EM, auto, 4 EM, 15%. There we go. It's kind of centering it up a little bit better. Our container, we're going to take down from 80% to 70. So it's going to push things in even more. So it's already looking better. So just with the minute changes, there can be big differences. Our blue container, I'm going to say, we're going to give it some different padding. So if we look at the blue container, we're going to change the padding up to 7 EM, 0, and 2 EM. So it spaces things out more. The blue container, LIP, so we're going to make adjustments to the paragraphs here to make them larger, and the block quote text from the testimonials, so font size 1.3 EM. So notice they get quite a bit larger. And then also gray container. We'll say padding is 6 EM, 0 and 4 EM. So we're readjusting the white space up here just a little bit like that. And then also just 3 more roll sets and we're done with the CSS. So H2, margin top, we'll say 4 EM. So that's adjusting this section right here, giving it more white space. We'll say blue container, image, say width is 15%. Alright, so we're adjusting our logo there, I believe. And then, oh no. We're adjusting the size of these. And then, of course, we're going to adjust. And at this point, I'm just going to paste in this roll set. We're going to fix this again, because I thought the icons were too big. There we go. So that's what that CSS looks like right there. And that's it with the CSS. Alright, so now we take this and we go all the way from like a mobile view. Things all look good here. Things are looking good here as well. You can see the breakpoints. How the styles adjust themselves. Alright, this is off center. I think that needs to be fixed, but I'm not going to worry about that right now at this point in time. Alright, so now let's get this menu right here working. Click it and nothing happens, and that's the rule of JavaScript. So you can include JavaScript inline, like in the HTML file itself, which is what we're going to do. Or you could use the script source and attribute and link a specific JS file. We're not going to do that though. I'm just going to show you how to write inline, because there's not going to be a ton of JavaScript. So the way we do this is we put script. So we have our script element here. And this is where we write a JavaScript now. So we can put a variable of menu. So we're going to say document.get element by ID menu. Alright, so remember I said we did place ID elements on a few of these. So our menu ID is up here somewhere. Let's see, where are we at? Right here. So we have our image ID of menu. So this is basically allowing us to target that element and be able to reference it as this menu variable, a variable called menu, here in our JavaScript. So we need a couple more. We need our nav element. Get element by ID of nav. So we have another one called nav up there. And then also exit, which is the exit button on the mobile navigation. And that's called exit. So these don't do anything in and of themselves. It just kind of just gains access to them so that we can do something with them. So what we're going to do is on the menu, which is in relation to this icon right here, we're going to say menu dot add event listener, and it accepts a certain type of event. So it could be hovers or anything like that. This is a click event, so when somebody clicks on it, we're going to make something happen. So we're going to pass in a function with E as a parameter, and you'll see how we work in with that. And then we open up things in these squiggly brackets, similar sort of to CSS. And so when something clicks, do something in here. So we could do alert, I have been clicked. So if we do that, watch what happens. We have this dialog that pops up that says, I have been clicked. Okay, great. We don't want that though. So what we want to do instead is use our nav variable defined right here. We'll say nav dot class list dot toggle a class called, a CSS class called hide mobile. Alright, so what this will do, is it will attach and detach that hide mobile class. And the mobile class is defined in our CSS, so hide mobile of display none. So it will remove hide mobile if it exists on the nav element right here, if that makes any sense. And then also we're going to do E dot, and E, by the way, is passed in right there. Prevent default. And what that does is when if you were to click this and you were to scroll down, it would kind of go up. The browser would go up. You don't want that. So we're going to take this same code here real quickly. I'm going to put in exit, in which that's this button. Nothing happens right now when we click on it. And it's basically going to be very similar, except it's going to be nav class list dot add. And this type is just going to add hide mobile. Alright, so now if we click it and then click this, there we go. It works as it should. And this will still work as well. Even if we click that and then come back, it still shows up and it changes its style automatically very quickly. And there we go. Boy, that was lengthy. So yeah, there we go. This is the app or the website that we designed all the way from the course from a couple days ago, or last week rather, and realizing it in the browser. And you can check this out on your phones and everything, and it should work quite well. All right, hopefully you stuck with me till the end here, and you've learned a massive amount. So going forward, if that was your first go around at front-end development, just try to get more practice by creating pages, maybe taking existing UI designs and trying to make them a reality with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you guys very shortly. Bye.
所以你这个就可以改成，这里面就可以改成这个啊，里面就改成不同的，不同的那种表示方式啊，中国的日本的画法，看到没有？这里原本是几行的东西就写成这样子，这个是用正页的方式，这样看得懂吗？这个就是你正页的名称。
Hi there, my name is Daniel Scott and I'm an Adobe certified instructor. Together, you and me are going to learn how to become a user experience designer using the software Adobe XD. Together, we'll use this UI UX software to create beautiful user interfaces as well as really streamlined user experiences. During this course, we'll work through an actual freelance project that I have on at the moment. It needs both a website and an app built, so it'll give you a really good idea of how to kind of manage your own UX projects. Now this course is aimed at complete beginners, so there's no need to have any experience in design or UI or UX. You don't even need to know what those terms mean yet. We're going to start right at the beginning and work our way through step by step. First, you'll learn how to construct a good brief and UX persona. Then you'll learn how to create some simple wireframes. From there, you'll learn how to implement colors and images properly in your designs. You'll learn all the do's and don'ts when it comes to web and mobile fonts, but also cheat a little by exploring some of the pre-made UI kits that can really speed up your workflow. We'll build a prototype, both a website design and a mobile app design, connecting pages and adding full interactivity, ready for user testing. I'll share with you all the secret tricks inside Adobe XD that can really help you speed up repetitive tasks. Learn how to run your own user tests, and then make the necessary updates based on those tests. You'll know how to make both simple and advanced micro interactions and transitions. Before the end of this course, you'll have fully interactive prototypes for your website and your app that you can share with your clients. We'll impress your colleagues with realistic mockups, all the way through to exporting the right files and getting all your design specs ready. So throughout the course, you'll be working on an actual project, but as well as that, I'll set assignments, not homework. Okay, for you to complete, I'll give you the brief, I'll give you the files, and I'll set some tasks. And that will mean you'll be able to develop your own skills, but also you'll be able to create your own projects for your own portfolio. So I hope you're ready to upgrade yourself, learn Adobe XD, and become a user experience designer. I'll see you in class. Is this driving you mad? It's like upside down. And what does it even say? It says iLab, I think, or iLab. Anyway, it's a cool little New Zealand brand, and it drives my Irish friends mad, so but that's enough. I will see you in class. Hey there, you made it in the course. Welcome. A couple of things before we get started is that you need to download the exercise files. So I've got some files that you can use to play along with the course. There'll be a link on the page here somewhere to download those, so do that first. Next step, we need to make sure that XD is the latest version of the version. Okay, so we just need to make sure your XD is the best it can be.